Hey everybody, Jay Super Awesome here. I'd like to welcome you all to week number 44 of the Horror Man Slashback Saturday Challenge. This week's slasher movie theme is Halloween slashers, and I will be giving my review for Halloween Night. Okay, so getting into the plot for this one. Based on the actual events of Halloween Night 1982, an inmate of a maximum security medical facility escapes after brutally murdering 2 guards. Upon returning to the house where he was born, he goes on a killing spree that will make him Southern California's greatest mass murderer. Okay, so getting into my thoughts for this one. With this week's Slashback Challenge theme of Halloween slashers, I chose to review Halloween Night because it's one that I wanted to revisit, and it's the one that I specifically set aside to review for this challenge. The storyline for this one starts off on Halloween night at the Vale residence, and they are victims of a home invasion type situation. We see this entire scene play out through young Christopher Vale's point of view, his hiding underneath the pool table, and of course he will become the storyline's main villain. But as a young boy, he witnesses his mother being assaulted. She is thrown on top of the pool table where she is raped, and it is a very brief rape, and they don't really show a whole lot, and I was kind of glad that they didn't. She ends up getting shot, and after this happens, we do find out that the father was somehow associated with the assailants. Before Christopher Vale can escape, his mother is still clinging on to life, and she ends up taking another bullet to the head, and it passes through her skull and hits a steam valve, and it horribly burns Christopher Vale, and he is disfigured for life. This storyline will progress 10 years forward. So 10 years later, Christopher Vale is in a mental facility. He is being picked on and abused by 2 guards, who he ends up brutally murdering, and then he escapes. After he escapes, he is on his way back to the family home. Of course, at this time, the Vale residence is being occupied by a group of friends who are throwing a huge medieval costume party, and of course, this is how Christopher Vale ends up getting his executioner costume. So that's really cool. So Halloween Night is another slasher film that was released by The Asylum, and I have no idea what the budget was for this movie, but I thought it was shot and filmed very well, or at least it looks the way I like slasher movies to look. I thought all the special effects with the blood and the gore was really good. I thought all the set locations were fantastic, especially the Vale house where the medieval costume party was taking place. This movie has a really awesome Halloween vibe to it, and I really enjoyed it. I really don't have a whole lot of negative things to say about this movie because I really did enjoy it, but I probably should mention, considering this is called Halloween Night, and it does have a serial killer who escapes a mental hospital, it is very similar to Halloween because Michael Myers is a serial killer who escapes a mental hospital. So I could understand people considering this to be a Halloween ripoff, but there is a lot of slasher films that have serial killers escaping mental hospitals. So I really don't look that deep into it. And with that being said, I probably should also mention that the killer in this movie seems to have a connection to his mother. And it's not really as much of a connection as it is that he just sees her in visions. So I thought I would at least mention it because it does seem a little bit similar to Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th. But once again, I really do not look that deep into it, and I still find enjoyment with this movie. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the cast of characters we have in Halloween Night. So basically the main characters in this storyline are the group of friends that are throwing this huge medieval party. And basically the guy that's put this party all together, everybody knows him as more or less the party guy, the guy that can throw the best parties. And this is probably going to be his last party, the last time he can get everybody together. So he is wanting to create lasting memories and most of all impress his girlfriend. But he does have some deeper and darker intentions in mind. He does have a sort of a Halloween prank scheduled, and when this prank takes place, it goes horribly wrong. The cops arrive and thin down the party to where it's basically the main group of friends. He is there with his girlfriend, who she's in the process of sort of leaving. We have another guy who has been on the internet and researching the escape mental patient. And we have the girl that he is hoping to pursue. And then just a few other basically throwaway characters. There's a lot of expendable characters throughout this movie, basically just to create a higher body count. Overall, I thought the acting was pretty good in this movie. I didn't really have any issue with the acting, and I thought the characters were okay for a slasher film. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the most important part of a slasher movie, that is the killer and the kills. So I really liked the killer in this movie. I thought he had a pretty interesting backstory, and I always find it to be pretty cool when they try to add some extra details to the killer's character. We basically get two different looks for the killer in this movie. We have his burnt look, and we also have the killer wearing his executioner's costume. And out of the two looks, I do prefer the executioner's costume. Considering it is a medieval party, the medieval executioner's costume fits in perfectly. Overall, I really do enjoy the killer in this movie. Later on, he does start using some medieval weapons, so that's really cool as well. As far as the kills go within this movie, we have a very high body count. We are treated to a lot of violent and gory deaths. This movie doesn't shy away from the blood and the gore, and there is a wide variety of kills. Another thing that I noticed about the storyline for this one, because it does have such a high body count, it helps push the story forward. Considering there's not a lot of character development that goes on throughout this movie, this is more about the killer and the kills than any characters that you're going to care for. So the high body count does push the story forward. I thought this movie was a highly entertaining slasher film. My only complaint about it is I thought the ending was a little bit corny, and I really didn't care for the ending all that much. But overall, I did enjoy this one. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Please like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if you have seen Halloween Night, or just let me know what you think about my review. And I would like to thank you all for watching.